This is the only video you need to actually understand how Airbnb arbitrage works. No fluff, no wasted time, just the exact steps that you need to follow as a beginner. Everything I've learned from failing to figuring it out to making over $100,000 just last month is going to be uncovered in this video. But if you can't sit through this exact breakdown and steal the exact process that got me here, then you probably should click past this video because it's not going to be for you. Why do you need Airbnb properties? Well, here's the thing. At some point, whether it's now, later, in your 40s, 50s, 60s, you will need to create passive income. If you do not find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. You ever wonder why older entrepreneurs and accredited investors always gravitate towards real estate? Once they make money in other industries or their 9-to-5s, they always funnel it into real estate for long-term wealth. But what if you started with real estate now at this young age, instead of waiting like those older and accredited investors? I've spent the last 5 years building my Airbnb business. I'm only 24 years old. I just purchased a $500,000 condo last year, a $700,000 duplex just a few months ago, and I'm in the process of building my first $2 million development project. The leverage I built through Airbnb arbitrage is what actually allowed me to take the next step into ownership, into getting into other verticals of real estate and becoming an accredited investor. You've probably heard the term Airbnb arbitrage thrown around, but what does it actually mean? In short, Airbnb arbitrage is renting a property long-term and then taking that same property and subletting it on Airbnb for short-term stays. In essence, you're leveraging someone else's property to generate income without actually owning the property. This allows you to build cash flow with minimal upfront investment. Now, the best way to find your ideal Airbnb market is to look within a 1 to 2 hour radius of where you live. Why is this important? Because being near your first property makes problem solving 10 times easier, reduces overall risk, and allows you to handle emergencies without actually relying on a property manager. Here's what makes an actual good market. What you need to be looking for is properties that have over 70% occupancy. This ensures that the property has enough demand to sustain the rent payments, the cleaning costs, and the expenses, and leaves you enough margin to make profit. An average rate of $150 per day ensures strong revenue potential, and this is the type of properties that you want to prioritize. Now, there are over 250 active Airbnb listings in any given market. So you need to be able to differentiate between those markets and those certain properties by using platforms like AirDNA to research and look at revenue by actually doing estimates on the properties that you're searching. Now, you want to look for properties near attractions as well. National parks, amusement parks, major hospitals, growing cities. It could be any of these different attractions, but you have to be able to make sure that you avoid major metro areas that are oversaturated with listings and have strict regulations. Instead, my favorite trick is to just look outside of the big cities within a 5 to 10 mile radius, where the demand is still high, but the regulations are looser, and the barrier to entry for a beginner such as yourself into this market will be a lot easier. Now, finding the right property is very important as well. Platforms like Zillow, Realtor.com are specialized in finding new investment properties or short-term rentals. You have to be able to go on these platforms, find a nice, sophisticated home that you would see yourself actually living in, and then take that address, copy paste it into AirDNA, which is the revenue estimator, and then AirDNA is going to give you an estimate on how much revenue that subject property is going to be able to have and make for you. Now, you have to be optimizing the Zillow filters as well. You can't just go on Zillow and find a random listing to upload into AirDNA. No, you have to be targeting properties that are owned by individuals, landlords. You can't be finding properties that are owned by corporate or managed buildings. You can't be looking at properties that are owned by property management companies. You have to filter for ideal price points as well. I normally cap my rent prices at $3,500. Anything over $3,500 a month in rent conduces high risk, and it's something that I don't want to get myself into as a beginner. and it lowers my downside potential when I'm looking at projected earnings. So make sure your rent is capped at $3,500. Make sure you're looking for at least 2-bedroom single-family houses or 2-bedroom condos. Anything over 2 bedrooms will allow you to charge more per night and occupy more people. You also have to look for homes with unique amenities such as pools, hot tubs, waterfront access, anything that stands out as a amenity to someone who would want to stay inside of your Airbnb. Remember, people are not just traveling because they want to travel to your property. People are traveling because they want to feel like they're at home when they're staying at your property. So what home amenities and features and appliances can you add to your listing? And these are the items and things that we should be looking for as an investor. And the most important piece of advice I'd give to you young entrepreneurs out there who are watching this video is never use your own capital. Airbnb arbitrage is a cash flow strategy, not a heavy capital investment play. This is not your traditional real estate investment where you are required to put down hundreds of thousands of dollars. You are able to use leverage to allow you to scale faster simply by borrowing money from the banks. It's very easy to use business funding instead of using your personal savings, your cash, or whatever it is. Most banks for young entrepreneurs and small businesses offer 0% APR business credit lines for 12 months or longer. You can open up a business credit card with a bank such as Chase, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Truist, and many others, and take that same business credit card and use it to pay for your rent on a property or use it to pay for the furniture on your property. Business funding companies that specialize in getting you startup capital are very, very important to utilize. This is something that we actually help many of our students with inside of my mentorship program. So if you're interested in getting business funding and you're interested in learning how to leverage the bank's money and not yours, all you have to do is reach out to us and we'll be able to help you out. Now, once you have the funding, it's very important that you are cold calling landlords very effectively. Cold calling landlords is going to be your deciding factor on whether or not you're able to lock down your first deal. Guys, positioning yourself to Airbnb landlords is crucial because not all landlords will be on board with you taking their property and using it as an Airbnb. But many will be open to it if you present it the right way. I always say, it's not about what you say on these calls with landlords, it's how you say it and how you present it. So never say that you want to actually Airbnb their property, but instead frame it as a corporate housing solution or a short-term rental for business travelers or something along the lines of hospitality management. These are keywords that I like to use inside of our script to collect landlord emails and to send professional pitches. Now you have to understand when you're cold calling these landlords, they don't know who you are. You're technically soliciting them, so they don't even like you from the start. You have about 12 seconds to create a first impression and to allow this landlord, this random person that you're cold calling, to be able to trust you. At this point, once you've actually solidified a verbal confirmation from the landlord, this means getting the landlord to verbally agree to allowing you to sublease their property, you're going to now send over a legal contract to get it on paper. And then once you get it on paper, you now have legal permission to take someone else's house that you don't even own and furnish it and re-sublease it as an Airbnb. So at this point, getting into step 6 is very important because now once you have this legal contract in place, you will have to start setting up the property. So guys, when furnishing your property, it's important to invest into high quality yet but budget friendly furniture. Use platforms like Amazon, Wayfair, and even Facebook Marketplace. But also understand that time is of the essence during this phase because at this point you have signed the lease and you are now responsible for rent. Staging and photos are also very important when you're furnishing properties. You have to be able to make sure that you hire a professional photographer. Make sure you're not taking pictures on your phone or a regular camera. Make sure you're using an enhanced camera. Your picture is the most important frame and it's the first thing someone sees when they click on your Airbnb listing. And this has everything to do with the algorithm as well. So it's very important that your pictures on Airbnb look very professional. In step 7, automating and scaling your Airbnb business is very important as well. Once it's fully set up and done, you have to be able to make sure that the property will run by itself. Now, using things like Airbnb automation door locks, or Nest or Google Home Ring cameras, and all these other devices will be able and allow you to manage the property virtually. So also utilizing websites like Hospitable and Turnover BNB to find and manage your listings and find and manage your cleaners are also going to be very important. And also utilizing platforms like Price Labs to optimize revenue based on demand in the area is going to be a key factor in the success of your Airbnb business. So many people always ask me, Reed, how do you have close to 30 rental properties all across the country, and how are you operating all of these properties by yourself when you're not even visiting these locations? And it really just comes down to having a strong team. I have a cleaner, I have a handyman, I have an electrician, I have a pool guy, I have a hot tub guy for every single property that I own and arbitrage. So for every single listing that I'm managing and running and operating, I have close to 4 to 5 people that are going to be hands-on that specific property. And so if anything ever goes wrong, I can trust any of those 4 to 5 people to respond to a task. Now, the most important person on your team is going to be your cleaner, because your cleaner is going to have the most frequent access to your property. This is going to be your so-called undercover property manager. This is someone you have to be able to trust. This is someone who has to be communicative with you, and this is someone who has to let you know of every single thing that goes on in the property. A good cleaner will be going into the property and cleaning as they should during the time frames of a checkout. However, a great cleaner will be doing just that, but also managing the property and resupplying, refurnishing the house. If anything gets damaged, they will be letting you know. If anything gets stolen or taken away from the property, they should also be letting you know. A great cleaner should always be able to communicate very well with you so that you can optimize and run your business smoothly. Now guys, listen, this is probably the tip of the iceberg on how this entire business works. And in the last 5 years, there are so many other tips and strategies that I have implemented and I've tried to combine and condense into this short video. But the truth is, it's impossible to put everything into this one video. So if you have found any sort of value and have found this guide helpful, and if you are a serious individual who is actually watching this video right now who wants to get started, then I have an exclusive partnership program where I partner up with my mentees and I teach you guys exactly how to replicate and duplicate my exact blueprint. If you're in the US and you're at least 18 years old or older, you can book a call with my team using the link below in the description, and we will help you not only get funded, but we will help you find your first property, we will help you cold call landlords, we will help you close deals, set up, and even manage your Airbnb. Let's get it.